I don't even know what to say. I mean, honestly, the week of March the 24th until about the 30th is both enchanting, magical, mysterious, delusional, and strange. We have a rare pileup in the sign of Pisces at the end of this week. And before that, a Mercury backing his butt into the heart of the sun for one of the last of the air elements, Aries. Cazimis, when he gets divine instructions from the mission headquarters, the sun for the world. It looks like we could have some strange enchantments this week. We could also have some powerful manifestation energy, but we also can feel like something is highly tippied over, like the teeter totter, everything is in Pisces. And what's even more cool about that, it's not just Western tropical zodiac. In the astrology of the sidereal or Vedic astrology, or in other words, the real time sky for real, it's also the same pileup in Pisces. So we have an incredibly intensely rare week ahead. So let's break it down for your sign and what you might want to do with this, like holy man sky. Now, if you're new to my channel, welcome. My name is Lori Lothian, and I am a Western tropical zodiac astrologer using the whole sign houses. And I have a fetish for fixed stars, but also minor asteroids. The minor asteroids we're going to talk about today are Manwe, the Elf King, Ophelia, the one who drowned herself from tragic bad news events she couldn't cope with in the story of Hamlet by Shakespeare, and Borasisi, a fictional religion created by a character by Kurt Vonnegut. So we're going to talk about how these might play out, for these asteroids are bundled up next to Mercury as he goes into the heart of the sun, along with Venus, by the way. And so there's a lot happening, very much a lot happening all at once in the sky in both Aries and Pisces in this week ahead. First of all, one of the things I want to mention about astrology is it is a navigational tool. You can use it to, in quotes, time your best life. And so when you listen today, I'm going to be giving you some perspectives around the idea, not just a prediction, but how you might want to use this or not fall under the wheels of some of the more difficult energies here. We have Neptune at a degree that has to do with, it's called Gandanta, drowning. We have Ophelia there, who actually, she's an Aries, but she's the story of someone who drowned at the end of the narrative, right? She went crazy and she drowned herself, or she fell off a branch and fell in a river and drowned. So we have this drowning energy, and that could be metaphorical. Well, there may be some drowning events in the world, floods, tsunamis, whatever, and very likely there will be that too. We also have metaphorical drowning, right? Like, oh my God, I'm overwhelmed. I'm drowning in a sea of work. I'm overwhelmed by the circumstances of my life, and that's where I want to give you some guidance on how you might navigate away from that feeling that you're barely keeping your head above water, and how you can maybe move into a new relationship to the sky. So let's do it that way today. Also, if you don't know anything about me, I'm not really pitching any products at this point, but if you look below my video, you can join me on Patreon, where they get this early access ad-free type of content for a mere $5 a month, plus classes with me and Zoom calls. Check out my Substack, where I write about Pluto Chronicles, all things Pluto, and how the latest Venus in the heart of the sun sextiles Pluto. She comes out the other side, Venus cazimi, may lead to a new war in the world. So I explain that in my Pluto Chronicles. Yeah, I know. And I also have something else I'm up to. What is it? Patreon. I forgot what my Cosmic Moonshine newsletter, where I give away free readings, prizes, and free courses as a way to thank you for being a part of that subscription newsletter that comes out for free on your inbox every Sunday, with a delineation of the week ahead, written by, no, not AI, by me. All right, so let's get started. Number one, I'm going to just mention a few things before I show you the sky. I'd just like to just a broad brushstroke something for your bigger and broader understanding. By the way, there is a Sabian symbol here that I truly love, and it's a very positive Sabian symbol where Mercury meets the sun. In the 4 degrees of the sign, Mercury will collide with the sun at the 4th degree of Aries, and the Sabian symbol for that is delightful. It's called a triangle with wings, and the keyword is zeal. I'm going to dive a bit more into what that might be for, but I also want to talk about the big broad stroke, big brushstroke picture, okay? Whew. Gary Caden, a colleague and friend and ally in astrology, a friend of mine, but he's also a major, big name astrologer. He's been on my channel before, has deeply studied the cycles of Mercury in the heavens. And he has noted what he calls his elemental Mercury years, elemental fire, elemental, earth, water. Who did I forget? Earth, water, air, and fire. And it's about a year, every year and a half, Mercury will always be retrograding in one of these elements. And starting in April of 2024, Mercury was retrograding in Aries, and then Leo, and then Sag. And then this year again, Aries, and Leo. So therefore, we have about a year and a half in which Mercury spends an inordinate number of months, not days, not weeks, months in the sign of fire. And the reason is because when he retrogrades in fire and in any of these elements, he tends to spend a lot of time there, up to sometimes an alarming 2 months, meaning 6 months of a year. Last year in 2024, Mercury was in the fire signs. What does that mean? Well, if you are a fire sign, Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius, sun, moon, or rising, these elements of your life are highly, highly activated in 24 and now into the midpoint of 2025, because Leo is our summer season. So by the fall, we're finished with the fire of Mercury's elemental fire signs. And Gary talks about it being about significance, the trigon of significance. And I believe it's also just simply the trigon of Dharma, because in Indian astrology, Vedic astrology, the Aries, Leo, and Sag fire signs are connected to the first, fifth, and ninth house. And these are Dharma houses, or to be aligned as possible, as much as you can, with meaningful life, purpose of life, true north, the reason you're on the planet, why you incarnated. So the activation of personal meaning in life and Dharma is a big theme of 24 and all the way through to the fall of 25. So as we see Mercury coming into the heart of the sun, we are talking about him still working on his elemental fire seasons, and that comes back every 7 years. So now I'm going to show you a chart because I'm a teaching astrologer. And if you don't want to learn, don't worry. You can just navigate to your sign in the chapters or the timestamps. Chapters are, click the title of the video and you'll get chapters to go jump ahead, or comments, pinned timestamps by my assistant. But I suggest you learn a little bit about what this is about. I think learning is useful. From astro.com, astroseek.com, astro-seek.com, astro-seek.com. I'm about to show you a couple of charts. I want to show you this one. I am sharing, correct? You can do this search engine, go to the aspect search engine feature, and you can plug in anything you like over there for free. Now, you'll notice that in April of 24, August of 24, December of 2024, there was a Mercury retrograde connecting to headquarters, which is the sun. This is like getting mission instructions from headquarters, and various ways of defining it: in the heart of the lap of the king, in the heart of the sun, in the throne room of the king. The sun is a divine solar intelligence that runs the whole matrix simulation, and Mercury is getting new instructions. So we'll see that he will come into his new instructions again. Yay, Mercury, March the 24th at 4 degrees and 24 minutes of Aries. That rounds up to the Sabian symbol, 5 degrees of Aries, which I will read shortly for you from one of my favorite books. Now, you'll see we have another Mercury connecting to Leo retrograde in July, on July 31st. This is the last of the fire cycle. When did we last have this fire cycle? I'm about to show you, so you can compare times of your life. Also notice that we're going to move into a water cycle with the November cycle in Scorpio, the March of 26 cycle in Pisces, the July 13th of 2026 in Cancer, and the November 4th of 26 in Scorpio. We skip a beat with a touch point in Aquarius, and then we go to 2027 back in Cancer, water, June. This means we're moving into Mercury working on water elements. In Indian astrology, these are the moksha houses, the houses 4, 8, and 12, which correspond with those signs in the natural zodiac. So therefore, spiritual liberation, creativity, mysticism are all going to be new themes of experience, surrender, let go, release, when we move into that new cycle, collectively and individually. Now, these signs are 12. You have 12 pie slices of your sky in whole sign houses. I encourage you to learn how to cast your chart in whole sign houses. If you don't know how to do that, nor or even know your rising sign, do me a favor, go into my description box below, click that more button, and trend to the bottom where I have free gifts. One of them is my Meanings of the 12 Houses PDF. Go ahead and grab it. It's a download. The other one is how to cast your chart in whole sign houses and why. And that 7-minute video tutorial you can go access, and you can cast your chart in whole sign houses, and then you'll understand the ancient tradition of one sign, one house, which allows for Time Lord tools and techniques, rulerships, and clear predictive delineations. So go ahead and do that, because when I'm talking about today, when I talk about the elemental fire, and I'm talking about houses in your chart, which I will, I'm talking about one sign, one house, not Placidus, please. You'll be very, very confused. And this is the ancient tradition. And once you go whole sign, you never go back. Trust me. Modern astrology Placidus was invented in the modern day. It is a quadrant-based house system, but the problem is it's latitude dependent and seasonal. So if you're born in the winter near the North Pole, your entire first house may encompass 4 signs and be intercepted. So you don't have any delineating cusps for 4 signs. That does not make sense, and it does not work for prediction. I hope that makes sense to you. Now, I'm going to show you one other screenshot, and I want you to maybe really think about this when I show it to you. Hopefully I get the right one. Yes. So look back in time, guys. See how, oops, that doesn't look right. It looks so small. It should be much larger. Give me a minute. That's weird. I think I have to blow it up before I share it with you. Let me try that. Hang on. Because usually when I do this, you should be able to see it a lot better than that. I don't know why it's so tiny. The last one wasn't. Oh, Mercury retrograde, thou doth beguile me. It is a Mercury retrograde as I record this for you on Saturday, March the 22nd. Okay, well, it doesn't look like I want it to do. Oh, there, no, not really, but just trust me, we'll work with what we've got. 2017, right? December, April of 18, August of 18. See this, all the fire signs, those are Sag, Aries, Leo, Sag. That was our elemental fire season back in 2017 throughout 2018. In this regard, you may be able to compare your life. In fact, I hope it wasn't actually even earlier. There might have been one in the fall. There might have been one earlier, but 2017-18 elemental fire season. So that's where you can compare what Mercury might have been doing in the fire signs of your chart, and now he's still finishing up his old story. So there's going to be overlaps, just like Venus is retrograding into the heart of the sun, as she did in 2018. I mean, 2017, we're overlapping with that era of our lives. Okay, now here we go. We're going to open up a couple of new stories, and we're going to talk about your sign. Okay, first of all, what about the Sabian symbol? I think I'm going to open my window. It is really, really hot in my room, even though I could be having a hot flash, even though the heat's off. I'm not sure that I needed to turn the heat down. I think it's my hypothalamus. Welcome to way menopause. Oh my God. How many years in? Like I'm 14 years into menopause. Okay. The book I'm telling you about is and not perimenopause. The Sabian Symbols, A Screen of Prophecy by Diana E. Roche. All the books I recommend are in my description box below. This baby's been with me for years and it's a hot mess. Now, Aries at 5 degrees, because we rounded up the 4-degree cazimi, right? What does it mean? It's one of 20. There are channeled symbols for 360 degrees of the wheel of astrology. A circle is 360 degrees. Each sign has like 29 degrees or 30 if you count 0 to, and basically we round up. So just trust me on the rounding up. It's essential. All right. So a triangle with wings, keyword zeal. So she talks about this being about enthusiasm. And the symbol speaks to the ability of an individual to come through his experiences spiritually and psychologically intact as he remains true to himself or acts purely from the center of his being, So it's a can-do attitude, a refusal to accept limitations because it's zeal at its highest. The symbol represents high vision and a positive outlook on life. Who doesn't need that during a reset button? Or a tendency to see life in terms of possibilities rather than actualities. Keywords: enthusiasm, ambition, uniqueness, enlightenment, transformation, vision, imagination, and possibilities. Wow, I love that, because as he retrogrades past the sun and bumps into the 3 asteroids I'm about to show you, and then this baby is going to bump into Neptune. And so there's a really interesting window of time where he crosses Neptune, and Neptune is going on the 30th of March. Neptune is going into Aries. And just before that, literally there's about 7-8 hours in which they're together. Mercury is with Neptune for 7 or 8 hours. And then Neptune crosses over into Aries. And there's also an eclipse on the 29th. So holy shamoly. Okay, so one thing I want to mention here is, what do you do with this energy? Well, it lasts until about May the 30th. All right. So number one, May 30th, Mercury in direct motion, a superior conjunction on the other side of the sun, will combine with the sun in the sign of Gemini, 9 degrees of Gemini. This is an inferior conjunction. Mercury's between the earth and the sun. This gives them extra magic, extra power, extra mojo, extra magician, extra synchronicity, signs, portents, and omens. And he's retrograding now. So you're still in that, but this is the reset button. He goes direct on April 7th. Pay attention to your dreams. Pay attention to your signs. I went to a little bakery up the street and they had those little natas, those little custard pastries from Portugal. Well, guess what? They said, oh, we just got them in a week ago. They've never had it. It's a chain in Canada. I don't know why they're suddenly featuring pastries that are Portuguese. But anyway, I'm like, I want to spend time digital nomading in Portugal this fall. And that was my sign. That was my synchronicity from Mercury. I didn't have to walk into that coffee shop. I rarely do. So there's all kinds of cool things you should be paying attention to. You know, synchronicities are kisses from God. They're divine messages. They're actually telling you that the matrix, you know, a glitch in the matrix, because this is a matrix. But if you get upset with the matrix, get the book by Florence Scovel Shinn, The Game of Life and How to Play It. It doesn't mean hard and difficult things won't happen to you, but you'll know how to go with the fun, make it a game, do your damnedest. Okay. Do your damnedest to play the game of life. And Mercury's a trickster and a mischief maker. So if you get involved in him during a retrograde, dialogue, pay attention to your dreams, ask for signs. You know, dear God, I think I should quit this job. Give me a sign. Dear universe, I think I should end this relationship. Give me a sign. Dear universe, I think I should invest in the stock. Give me a sign. I made all of my major life decisions, and they've been big ones based on signs. So go figure. I'm giving you my advice. All right. So the thing I want to talk about now is I want to show you the asteroids that are involved. I want to show you the sky. I'm going to, don't worry, we're going to get to your sign. I know people are going to ask me about world events because I do that. I'll talk very, very, very briefly about that. This is what the heavens look like, and I'm going to annotate for you. I don't have my button. Okay, I'll just annotate by hand. Annotation, let me do that. So what we have up here is Mercury at 3 degrees. Now he's meeting in the heart of the sun. Okay, on the 24th. This is the next day because I wanted to show you what happens after he meets with the sun at 4 degrees on Monday. Then he goes backwards and he ends up in a triple conjunction with Ophelia and Manwe, the Elf King, and Ophelia, the story I just told you about. And then he will continue back and bump into Borasisi, let's say on Wednesday, and he continues backwards, bumping also into Venus. And then he's going to end up over here with Neptune on the 30th. Just for a brief time, because Neptune will slide forward and he'll slide there. They're going to switch spots. What I want to say about the following asteroids for you, and I just had a class this morning for my Venus retrograde class, and we discussed these asteroids and did a guided meditation about them. Basically, I want you to look at Ophelia, this crazy, she fell in love with Hamlet, the king of Denmark. I think she wanted him, but her brother died, her grandfather died or something. And Hamlet wasn't interested in her. So she was disappointed by life and she went crazy, and then she accidentally drowned, or I don't know, she accidentally drowned, she fell into a river and drowned. So the asteroid delineation would be, where in life are you feeling like you're overwhelmed or drowning in life's disappointments or regrets, something along those lines. And Manwe is the Elf King. He has the shape of an eagle man. It's because the eagle gives him a big eagle eye view. Eagle was his number one animal. He's the Elf King from Tolkien's books, and has command over the wind and the sky and the birds. And he's a very benevolent energy, but you can also decode him as having command and control of the elements of the air, and having the ability to see the big picture view, as his owl was able to, his eagle was allowing him to do that in the books. And over here, where we have Borasisi, is a fictional character that created a religion based on lies in the book Cat's Cradle by Kurt Vonnegut. No, it's not where you are going to create a religion based on lies, but it's where you might have deluded yourself, convinced yourself of something that isn't true, where you may have such a strong belief in something that you're going to make it true no matter what. And there may be an element here on a positive side of the power of the imagination to create something fictional that is utterly believable. And in the highest way of using that, I'd say, doesn't that sound a lot like the power of manifestation, when our beliefs are so powerful that we make it so? So there's a lot of ways to code that particular asteroid. But because that asteroid has been entangled with Venus during her cazimi, or her meeting with headquarters, which is an occurrence at 2 degrees of Aries that happened today, March the 22nd, where I'm recording. And then now Mercury on Monday the 24th, involved with the same asteroids. Mercury is the announcer, the messenger. He takes on the flavor of that which he touches. He's been getting divine mission instructions from the god of headquarters, the sun, which allows you to move in a new direction in your Aries sky through to May the 30th. But he also amplifies everything else around him. So look for phone calls, emails, text messages, conversations, synchronicities, signs, and omens that give you clues as to what these asteroids may be offering you in this reset button that lasts until May 30th, as Mercury is in the heart of the sun, giving you a new story that lasts until his next conjunction with the sun in Gemini at 9 degrees on May the 30th. All righty? And what about the world? And what about this? I want to mention that Pluto, let's go back a day. Give me a minute. Maybe the easiest way would be to stop the share. I want to show you what Pluto's doing. Pluto, on the day of Mercury in the heart of the sun, is in a perfect sextile, more or less. This is a very powerful energy, and you'll see a little blue triangle there. That's called a mini grand trine. It's complicated because of all the other things you're looking at. That's all I want you to focus on. I want you to notice this little triangle of goodness. This is called a grace triangle, a talent triangle, a mini triangle. It brings positive things. When I delineate your sign, I'm not just talking. I am not just talking to you about what happens this week. This is a larger story. The beginning of something bakes in the everything of something. It's called an election or an inception moment. The moment of something's beginning will be something to do with everything that unfolds until May the 30th. So number one, Mercury getting divine mission instructions from the sun and maybe healing a chironic wound in Aries, hopefully the frigging war wound for the world since 2019. Then Pluto and the moon. Look how the moon is perfectly co-joining Pluto at the time of this mini triangle of forming here, and also Juno. Now, Juno is the goddess of contractual agreements in marriage, and also she brings divorce. She brings contractual agreements for peace treaties, for legal contracts, anything one vows to commit to, or it's ready time to decommit, because I've seen her act like the divorce asteroid as much as I've seen her act like the inception of a marriage or beginning of a relationship that's committed. So there's something about what we wish to commit to contractually or decommit from that's activated in the mini grand trine. And as I talk about your sign, I will delineate this feature. Now, finally, the last thing I want to say about the sky as this week progresses, you're going to notice the pileup, the great pileup. And I might do another mini video on this week if I have time, just because it is a sky that is increasingly rare. I like it because, yes, we have Neptune and Venus and the North Node of Fate and Saturn, who will co-join together, by the way, in April for the first time since the 1800s. But this is an energy that's beginning to show us something about the Pisces part of the sky, not just inside Western tropical zodiac, but in sidereal astrology as well. There is a pile up there. And if I go back a day, you'll see, oops, if we go forward a day, no, I got to get it perfect here. All right. This is Thursday, March the 27th. And we've got the moon making this little five placement lineup. Yeah. So it is really the strongest. Then Mercury comes in a bit later and gives us a 4-pile lineup, around April 1st. But if we were in sidereal astrology and we're getting around the 29th, 30th of March, everybody's all there. Like Mercury's there. And there's a gang of people partying in the parade or stellium of planets in Pisces. So kind of like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, the question will be, what the hell are you focused on in the Pisces part of your sky that has so much gravitas and destined change? Why destined? The North Node. It probably behooves me to whip up a video on Wednesday and toss it out there for you guys. So I'll see if I can do that and if I have time. But we do have an eclipse on the 29th, and I'll be putting an extra video out about that eclipse probably on Thursday. Now, let's roll. Let's stop the share. Before I do, if you haven't hit the like button or subscribe, please do. If you are subscribed, you're probably unsubbed. I don't know if every channel has that. I have a YouTube manager. I'm going to ask her, because every March, every June, every September, and every December, YouTube starts dumping out subscriptions, and they start dumping it the third week of March, the third week of June, the third week of September. So just starting on the 19th, all of a sudden yesterday, a big purge of subscribers on my channel. If you think you have been subscribed and you're not a bot, because they'll tell me that's what they're doing, go check, because you probably got dumped. It frustrates me when they do that. And I want to talk to my YouTube partner manager about it, my next meeting with her, and I say, really? Like, it's really disheartening when you're trying to build your channel and then all of a sudden you keep flushing people out every 3 months, and people go, I was subscribed, I don't know why they unsubscribed me. It's irritating. All right. What else do I want to say? I think that's it. We're going to go through all signs. When it comes to world events, what do I think? I think of seas and overwhelming storms. I think of drowning and real tidal waves. I had a dream. Let me see if I can get this for my video editor. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4. We have a pileup of planets in Aries coming through the sky on March the 27th through to about the 30th. This is a big pileup in the sign of Pisces, with Neptune at the Gandanta degree, this degree of drowning. At the same time, we had just had a Mercury cazimi and a Venus cazimi sitting in Aries with Ophelia. This is an asteroid that has to do with the drowning of a woman who lost her mind in the story of Hamlet. So we do see the word drowning. And unfortunately, I had a dream only about a week ago that I was watching people. I'm trying to rescue them from the water because they were drowning. And in the dream, I did not know if a boat had capsized or a tidal wave had swooped through this storyline, but I tend to dream prophetically. So we have a sky coming up at the end of March into mid-April of 2025, where the word catastrophic weather and flooding and drowning seem to be the order of the day. Stay safe, everybody. All right, that was just for my video editor. For the rest of you, you got the picture, right? I dreamt about the plane landing on the runway with athletes in it. And in my dream, it was athletes. And that was obviously the one with the athletes in it. There's too many plane crashes to remember. I dreamt of another one that I thought was a safe landing, and another one we have which rolled upside down and landed safe. So I do dream prophetically. So my only thing about the sky I don't like this week ahead, as we approach, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, into next Monday, Tuesday even, is the energy of the activation of Neptune. There's a bad star there, Shiat. It's also known with catastrophic loss, death, and difficult things. Plus, it's Gandanta, which is the drowning degree in Indian astrology. So we're looking at sidereally, but it's still the degree. And then we have the Ophelia activated first by Venus in the heart of the sun, and then Ophelia activated as well by Mercury, and she is a drowning story. So yeah, so the sky can be absolutely annoyingly literal. When you learn your asteroid, you'll know what I mean. I have a client who channels David Bowie. David Bowie asteroid is on her midheaven for her career and purpose. Why don't you check out my amazing asteroids course? People always ask me, how do I find out? It's free. It's in my description box. You'll learn how to find those asteroids in your chart and how to find them. So go take the free course. All right, let's get going. Let's get rolling. If you're listening for your sun, you're listening to matters connected to career and purpose, your moon, your home and home life. And if you're listening for your rising sign, you're listening to anything about you, for this is the character you play in the game of life. It is your simulation avatar. It is your video game character. And it often is most circumstantially accurate. The wiser and older we get, the more spiritually we get, we also begin to operate more from our solar or sun energy. So that's a very valid way to listen. I listen for my sun and my rising, and sometimes my moon. Sometimes your moon sign is how you feel about life, but it's also your home. Okay, so an eclipse to my moon 18 years ago in Aries relocated me. The eclipse coming up March 30th on my moon, March 29th in Aries, my landlord gave notice she's selling this property that I live in. But you know what? That happened, 2 weeks before the eclipse, a week before the eclipse. That's because eclipses happen up to 6 weeks before. Okay, up to a year later for a solar eclipse. So your moon is literally home, domicile, nest, and things that happen about the moon are often connected to our home life, but also how we feel about the stories of our life. All right, I'm going to try not to go too quickly. If you're into jewelry, this is my jewelry bundle. This is the Gemini trio, apatite, howlite, and rhodonite or something, but they're all very beautiful and very beautifully protective from Otter Spirit Jewelry. This is white quartz, and this I think is black onyx. All said and done, I love this jewelry, and I wear it because I love it, not because I'm selling you anything, because I get a tiny little commission, but you get a 20% discount if you'd like to purchase it. Otter Spirit Jewelry gives, helps fund otters and otter rehab and otter recovery and otters in the wild. It's got a cause to it, but it's triple grade A stones and it's beautiful stuff, and they're astrologically literate. So the Gemini trio is made for Geminis or other signs, but signs connected to it. So the trio, and you can get minis. That's a mini. And these are the big fatties. Depends on what you want. And I honestly really, really love this story. So I share it. I just share it because if I find something I like chocolate and stuff, I'm always telling you guys about it. Okay, let's go ahead and start with Aries. So with Aries, I'm going to pull you up and we're going to spend a short time here. But what I want to focus on is this mini trine that is baked in to the beginning of Mercury getting his divine mission instructions from headquarters. And therefore, I'm going to simplify the chart. We do not need to look at everybody else. Why? Because the story isn't going to be about them. Yes, Mars is witnessing the cazimi, so I'll leave him in there just because it's astrologically interesting that he's watching it from Cancer, where he is in a sign of his fall. But I still really want to focus on the mini triangle. We are going to take out, no, we're not taking out the moon. Where'd the moon go? We're going to take out... I'm going to take up the nodes for sure. We don't need the nodes. Goodbye, because I know where they are. And that's what I want to do. That'll do. And I don't even think we're going to keep the Pisces. Well, we'll keep the Pisces guys there. All right. So let's get going for the mini grand trine. And we're talking about right here. This is the thing I'm talking about. This triangle is your story. This is for each sign. We're going to talk about what this Mercury in the heart of the sun on the Sabian symbol for zeal, and I read the meaning of that, means for you, and how this reset button of Mercury in his elemental fire year will play out between now and May the 30th, when he does another reset in the sign of Gemini from a superior conjunction. Let us move to Aries. All right. So for all of the Aries folk here, this is going to be a Mercury in the heart of the sun, getting divine mission instructions. Well, in a pileup of asteroids. Possibly one of them will speak to you in a dream, because Mercury retrograde gives you mission instructions in synchronicities and portents and omens, and you are being activated directly. Sun, it's career matters. Moon, it's matters to do with home. And your rising sign, it can impact any area of your life, from career to relationship to home life and more. So as this energy resets you, as it did last year in April and in the summer in Leo and in the fall or December in Sag, elemental fire reset button again is happening. This is again here for you. What are you trying to reset, and what messages is Mercury giving you in the direction the reset might take? Certainly, as I talked about in many Mercury videos last year, the chironic wound of identity is here. It has been plaguing you since 2019. It could be a chironic wound about home. That would be your moon, your career purpose and path, your son or father figures, mother figures, moon, sun, but also your identity itself being somehow wounded. Maybe you've been ill. Maybe you don't like how you look. Maybe you feel ill at ease within your own skin. Now, this energy is trying to heal through eclipses and multiple other factors, but any chironic reset involving a Mercury could also work for you as well. So Mercury's might helping you to heal that stuff. And there's major developments coming through until May 30th that show you that's true. The mini trine that's forming here is asking you to make some kind of commitment or vow around your spiritual belief, your spiritual practice, your spiritual philosophy with Juno. It's also maybe a commitment or a vow to begin or end or stick with or not stick with a third marriage partner. Third marriages belong to the ninth house, second marriages to the second house, and first marriages to the seventh house, using a technique of derived houses. Now, and I know there's another technique from India, it's cultural, based on you get divorced and the wife goes to the brother and that kind of stuff. We're not doing that one because we don't do that in our culture. Now, Juno in the ninth house might have you really want to commit to some kind of spiritual direction. I mean, the temples, the house of God, meditation, spirituality. You may also want to make some commitments or vows regarding foreign places and foreign lands and foreign shores in connection with Pluto and the house of career gains. Now, that could be an indication, especially with Mercury retrograding back into the 12th house, that you might have some sort of desire to feel into the idea of some financial gain from abroad, or moving your domicile abroad, or traveling abroad quite a bit in order for you to secure greater career gains. Pluto in the 11th house brings those career gains to you and makes you richer from the activities of the 10th house over the next 20 years. When the moon and Pluto are together during the actual cazimi, this is going to activate a very profound energy. And because Pluto and moon together can be the death of home, but what for? The death of home and nest and domicile connected to the career and the career gains is a potential meaning for that. Also, what you visualize for your life, what you want, your forward imagination and thinking and wishing of what you wish to create in your life as a goal of success or achievement belongs to the 11th house. And with Pluto moon, you may be coming to a massive transformation of what emotionally satisfies you in order to have dreams that are more in alignment with emotionally satisfying truths. Advice for this kind of mini triangle, because it's going to play out as a grace luck triangle anyway, is lean into revisioning your life and your dreams and your goals in such a manner that you find them to be more emotionally sustainable and emotionally satisfying and regenerative. And you may have some emotional catharsis here, moon and Pluto, but it's good for you. This emotional catharsis can purge and release things from your life that you don't need, and people that you don't need, and situations you no longer desire. Certainly with Mars, the Lord of the cazimi in your 4th house, fallen, but also moving forward, you may be moving. A lot of people will change their home or change circumstances directly in their home. And Mercury's giving you emails, phone calls, and messages. Pay attention to the cazimi itself, the day of the cazimi, Monday, but into Tuesday and Wednesday for messages from Mercury that you need to hear. All right. And if you've been feeling like you're drowning in something, get that eagle's eye view of Manwe. The eagle can see the big picture. Don't get lost in the angst. Ophelia, everything's so bad. I'm going insane and now I will drown. You don't need to do that. Look higher. Your emotional comportment where you feel like you might be drowning, because this is all about you, Aries, then you can look to the eagle's eye view and the big picture view. Call on the elf king to help you on this regard. Borasisi, of course, use your imagination and your beliefs to make it real, right? Or watch to see which beliefs you have that are delusional and maybe holding you back. And on a very practical note, some of you may forge a legal contract or agreement to go to a higher educational setting or university or college between now and May 30th. And this is highly lucky and extremely transformational because of this mini trine and Pluto moon energies. Okay, I'm missing what I need. I'll be right back for the next sign. Give me a sec. I'm missing something. I'm back. Water. All right. Let's move for Taurus into this mini grand trine that is activated on Monday, but lasts until May the 30th. Please remember that. Please, guys, remember, this is not about a day. It's a synodic cycle. Here we have Taurus, Mercury in the heart of the sun on Monday this week, but it's a synodic cycle. This elemental fire like last year. I explained it in the beginning. Go watch. But this reset button, Mercury getting headquarter information lasts until May 30th of 2025. So this isn't a prediction that's for this long. This mini triangle tells me a few things about what it might mean. Number one, where in your world are you trying to make changes to your own worst enemy strategies? You know how it is, right? You're the procrastinator, you're the alcoholic, you smoke too much weed, or you're vaping on the cigarettes, or whatever you're doing. Things, I've got to stop doing this. This is like not good for me. I'm my worst enemy. I'm falling away from myself. So This is like literally a story of letting some of those things be inspected a lot more. Now you can have your own enemyship, but you can also have hidden enemies in this 12th house as well. And if they're hidden, I guess you don't know about them, but a cazimi can reveal them. So Mercury in the heart of the sun, you might look into Monday, Tuesday to get some news, phone calls, or emails that reveals that somebody you thought was an ally is actually not your ally at all. And hidden enemies come out of the woodwork with that nasty phone call, email, or discussion. And you realize you can wipe your hands clean of the non-goodwill of that person. You might also notice with this that your dreams will be very profound. Mercury in the 12th house as a dream messenger is quite capable, and even a psychopomp of bringing messages to you from the deceased ones or angels or archangels or things in your dream realm. And your dreams at night are very critical now. So please get a pen and paper this week ahead and take notes. By your bed, put a journal and get up and write it down before you forget, or voice record it. I don't know, do something, because you might have some profound messages in your dream life in this week ahead. I do want to mention as well, if you've been feeling like you're drowning, Ophelia, in some kind of self-undoing, look at Manwe, the eagle-eye guy. You know, the elf king in this story, and I described this in the beginning of the video, has that eagle's eye view. He's in command of the wind and the sea, the clouds and the air and the birds. The birds can represent the chatter of your mind. So being able to have control and a big picture view and command over those parts of your life that are undoing you. She's come undone, you know, that kind of thing. No, 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 no. Don't do it. Get a bigger picture view. And Borasisi up here with the conjunction of the sun and Mercury. Hey, you know, either you can delude yourself with your false beliefs, or you can use your imagination to create something new. Take your pick. And the power of believing it so strongly, it becomes true. What I think about Chiron is you have been struggling since 2019 with things of your own saboteur, right? There's some self-sabotage you've been dealing with since 2019 with Chiron here. This is going to end completely in 2027. It's a once in a lifetime chironic wound. Well, not once in a lifetime, once every 49 years. So it depends on, you know, how old you're going to live to. But ultimately, this transit of Chiron through Aries is coming to a close. And these eclipses in Aries plus, and there's an eclipse on the 29th, plus this cazimi on the 24th could ultimately help you move away from those patterns once and for all. And some of those may come from your childhood, past lives, sanskaras, family of origin stuff, karmic patterns. Mars is a ruler of the cazimi. He's puttering around in your third house. Some of you may make some changes in your neighborhood communities, the people you hang out with in the local environment, friends, allies, friends and local folk. You may make some changes as a result of this. And by May 30th, you may see yourself hanging out with a new kind of local crew. It's the house of writing. Good to start some writing projects off of this. And and changes in how you engage in social media as well as, you know, media in general. When I look at the fact that there's a mini trine here, I really like it. I think, well, this is a kind of energy that gives you luck and grace in your career. Pluto, regeneration, death and rebirth, moon, emotional satisfaction and catharsis, and contracts and agreements in the 8th house with Juno. Now, one way this could look is a completely intense new beginning in your career, connected to legal and contractual matters, connected to inheritances or chunky money from like the sale of a property or something like that. Otherwise, you might have some kind of really nice chunk of money through a death of a career path, like a severance package or big bonus money coming in, or a new job offer with a sign-on bonus. Those are big commission checks or those kinds of things. And you've got up until May 30th to see if this reset is what I'm suggesting it might be. Anybody listening as a Taurus who's thinking of, you know, monies that they make from far off places and foreign lands and marketplaces or foreign companies, a company that could be a company that's established in another country, but you work for it in your country. This can be very financially lucrative for you. There may be an up level here of your financial well-being in that regard. Now, Moon Pluto is about emotional regeneration in your career space. Pay attention to your signs, your synchronicities, omens, and portents, because Mercury can give you all the clues you need to get into a place of rebirthing yourself for emotional power and satisfaction in the career and reputation. Oh, wait, you're a student. That's your career. Oh, wait, you're retired. What do you visibly do in the world that people note you doing? That is your 10th house. And there's a death and rebirth and regeneration and emotional catharsis up here. FYI, the moon is a quarter moon too. So I didn't cover that for the signs, but a quarter moon is tired and old and getting ready to die in the heart of the sun. So there's some part of your career that's tired and old and getting ready to die in the heart of the sun, and you're ready to let it go. The last half moon before the new moon, which is the eclipse. Gemini, sun, moon, and rising. Guys, this is interesting. I can relate. I have a progressed Gemini sun. No progressed planets and ascendants are not as strong as your natal chart. Secondary icing on the cake of meaning. But let's talk about the cazimi. Mercury, elemental fire year, takes us back to 2017-18. Here we are again. This is a regeneration and new beginning that Mercury keeps trying to pull off in the house of career gains, in the house of long-range goals, visions, and dreams, in the house of social groups and large networks of belonging, the chosen tribe. And Mercury is in reset button mode here, giving you a change in that part of your sky until May the 30th. Also, with this divine mission instructions, are you feeling overwhelmed and drowning in work obligations for career gains? Are you drowning or feeling overwhelmed with your obligations or things to do with your friendship circles? And don't forget, Ophelia, who drowned, was also unrequited love. So do you feel some lack of requitement? Because, you've been having a chironic wound in the house of friendships and circles of belonging since 2019. I can totally relate because, because I was not taking a procedure during the pandemic that made me an outcast. Plus, I just discovered I'm autistic spectrum disorder. Now I know why I hate small talk so much. And I feel like an outcast and outsider in social groups. So you're going to find out that this wound is trying to heal, as it has been through all the eclipses, including the one on March the 29th. And Mercury's getting some divine mission instructions around healing the wound of belonging and groups of belonging, connecting to a better approach towards career gains and longer range goals and dreams. I also think Manwe has the eagle eye view, the elf king, and command of the birds and the air and the wind. And so your command, so to speak, of your own big longer term vision for your life is to get the bird's eye view. I want you to pretend you're flying up and looking down at yourself and write it all down. If you were giving Lori on the ground advice about which direction to go, I'm talking to myself, then I would I should be doing a meditation with Manwe and the eagle telling me what direction to head in, That's not a bad idea. I think I'll do that later today. And I kind of feel that this cazimi, getting some advice from Mars, is a change of strategy regarding dietary habits, but also of earnings. Mars is definitely a self-starter in the second house, but he's fallen. And so where are you fallen? Usually a fallen Mars in the second house can look like overwork. And maybe you've been feeling, September, October, and then holy man, January, February, March into mid-April, a lot of Mars in the second house. Have you been able to balance the work routine so that you're not in workaholic mode? Now, the other part of it is that you have a mini grand trine. And over the course of now to May 30th, this mini grand trine bakes in a few things. Now, you may have a commitment or a lack of commitment. You may vow to be together or untie the binding of a relationship with a business partner, with a significant other, particularly a significant long-term love energy. We do have Venus retrograding at the top of the sky with Mercury, and they're both trining Juno in your seventh house. So the ending or the beginning or the renewal or the undoing of a relationship between this cazimi and May the 30th would not be surprising. Well, it's all still positive because it's a mini grand trine, but Juno retrograde indicates it's a relationship that's already in play, most likely, right? That you're looking at something about the past and the relationship commitment and reassessing it between now and May 30th, but in fortunate, easy, lucky ways, particularly with Moon Pluto in a third marriage house. Again, and second marriage is where Mars is, but it's that mini trine connected to Juno. So looking at a long-term committed love story that's like a third marriage could be a time for a change in that relationship. However, there's transformation and regeneration, Pluto, moon energy, big catharsis, big purging energy here. And so if it comes to an end, it's very cathartic. If it doesn't, and it's very cathartic. Now, you could also look at this as golden opportunities in your career connected to foreign places, foreign lands, publishing and book publishing contracts, and book publishing deals. The sun is a ruler of your house of writing. The cazimi is is going to be Mercury in the heart of the sun. So for some of you, there may be indeed some opportunities for what I've just described, or legal contracts and opportunities to secure a place in a college or academic setting as a professor or teacher or as a student. And evidence of that might be forthcoming between the cazimi on the 24th and May the 30th. This is a longer story than a day. And the week ahead puts a lot of weight at the end of the week in your 10th house of career with a hyper focus on career matters. But I will be perhaps throwing out a quick video on that pile up in the sign of Pisces, the Pisces pile up. Well, a seagull flew overhead just for you, Cancer. What do you think when you think of seagulls? It just went right over my window. So if you are looking at this watery Cancer folk, cazimi, of course, it takes you back to 2017-18 when there were elemental fire cazimis in your 10th house of career. My sister Nancy's a Cancer rising. She retired from 30 years of hospital nursing work. So yes, there was a major reset button ongoing 2017 and 18 in the 10th house of career, and it's back again. This synodic cycle is regenerating, renewing, and changing your career path. And it has been in play all of last year, April, Aries, Leo, and Sag, and it's back again, and it finishes up this fall. So it finishes up after the Leo cazimi this summer. So you are coming to a chironic healing, right? Because 2019 Chiron entered the 10th house of career and reputation, putting you on strict notice that you have to find meaningful purpose and alignment with your true gifts and talents. And there's a wound in finding the key to purpose, right? The key to purpose, Chiron. How can you find the key to purpose? Well, let the cazimi show you the way. Mars is suggesting changes in your identity help, right? Mars is fallen in the sign of you. Where has your identity been a problem? It's your Cancer sun. It's your career identity. If it's your Cancer moon, it's your relationship to your home or your nest. And if it's your Cancer rising, every part of your life, Mars is cut and shear sever. Clear the decks. Change it up. Make a decision. Take some action. Now, Venus is up there, right? Venus is at the top of the sky with the cazimi. She rules your 4th house of home. And for some of you, there may be a change of home or your orientation towards your home life as well between the cazimi and May the 30th. I also noticed that you have maybe Ophelia. Are you drowning? Are you overwhelmed? Are you overwhelmed by something that you can't cope with? Reality itself in the 10th house of career and reputation. And Manwe says, get the big picture, be an eagle, look at the view from up high, get a commanding view. Borasisi might interpret that as, are you deluding yourself into believing, like a false religion, that your career is just fine? Or could you possibly be using the power of belief to renovate that career? Let's see what happens. The mini grand trine forming here brings luck and ease over the course of now till May 30th. And positive developments with Juno in the 6th house. That's a work house. It's an Artha house. It's a work house. And a 10th house is an Artha house. Are you looking at possibly some measure of change that you want to make that comes with ease and flow regarding contracts and agreements regarding employment or employing someone? And those agreements lead to a regeneration, renewal, and transformation of your house of taxes, your 8th house of chunky money, shared resources, business partnership money, investment money, and more. For some of you, it looks like career changes bring a death, rebirth, regeneration, renewal, catharsis even regarding 8th house matters, money, if you ask me, because you also have the idea of the houses 6 and 10 and 2 being all activated in fire energies. You're still part of the fire, elemental fire seasons of the retrograde Mercury. So it looks like a positive financial development. You may get a new job. You may get a sign-on bonus. You may rearrange your employment structure so that you're financially much better off. It looks positive to me. For sure, as opposed to negative. And so it's good for that part of the story as well. Venus is the ruler of home. She's kind of side hustling there. Maybe new agreements regarding rental contracts that bring in derivative or subsidiary income, whether you're going to rent out a piece of your property or because you're a landlord, or you're going to lease something that's much more affordable. Something around that could be very auspicious for you between this cazimi and May the 30th. Leo, sun, moon, and rising. It is a sky where there is a reset button, just like 2017-18 timeframe when we had cazimis happening. I mean, cazimi, yes, Mercury cazimi retrogrades happening in your ninth house. This is a reset of your philosophy of life, your relationship to a father figure, academics, colleges and universities and campuses, higher learning, resets regarding travel and adventures to foreign countries, and resets in third marriages. So you're resetting something here and you've been working on it since last year. This reset button is also to remind us we have a chironic wound here since 2019 with all of the ninth house meanings I just gave you, including your religious or spiritual philosophy and a sense of meaning in life. When I think about the fact that Mars is, watching the reset in his house from the 12th house, some of you might be looking at self-undoing as well and how you let your own self down in anything from addictions to, just self-sabotaging behaviors and wanting to make changes there as well. This is also Mars in a house of distant shores and the cazimi in the ninth house. And some of you may be focused between now and May 30th on some travel to distant shores. Mercury is the patron protector of travelers in the house of distant lands, pilgrimages, temples, and foreign adventures. So some of you, Leos, may be looking at opening up some foreign adventures between now and May 30th. Also notice that Manwe, the big eagle-eyed view, is up there with Mercury, and allowing for you to take a big picture view of some part of your life where you might feel like you are overwhelmed. So to be overwhelmed in the ninth house matters, overwhelmed by studies, school, visas, passports, travel, overwhelmed by father figures in your life, just like a feeling drowning, overwhelmed energy, driving you mad, absolutely mad. I feel you went mad. Borasisi, your own beliefs that are delusional or illusion, like you've got yourself convinced of something that isn't true. It can be any belief, doesn't have to be a religion. Or can you use the power of belief to reset your life? I want to mention the mini trine because it's so positive, of course, baking in a theme until May 30th. It could look like some new relationship agreements with your children. Maybe one of your children is going off to school. Maybe one of your children is announcing the birth of a grandchild. Venus is fertility and grandchildren up there. And you're making some agreements around or with that child. You might notice that the Juno is a committed goddess of love in a house of romantic and more dating stories with, of course, a Pluto death moon catharsis. It would look more to me like a positive ending, a cathartic rebirth, death and rebirth, an ending of an existing relationship that no longer works for you. But you've been thinking of ending it for a while, or you've tried because it was retrograde Juno, and you may be able to stick the landing on an ending. But if you're dating and you're not with somebody, maybe a retrograde Juno is indicating a relationship from your past lives, or this life is coming into being as a committed love, but there's a lot of emotional intensity and regeneration. Like Pluto moon is like cathartic, purgative energies around our feelings and emotional states. You could even on the cazimi have a phone call, text message, or email Monday or Tuesday. Look for that connected to love stories. But ninth house meaning is a Lakshmi house, a luck house. It's a house of God. Something good is trying to happen here. There's no doubt about it. And if it's with your children instead of with you, Juno in the house of your children, then it's their story and their intensity. And you're watching from your Leo perch about their breakup, their regeneration, their renewal, their recommitment, their decommitment in long-term love, for them to be aligned more deeply with life's purpose and harmony and ease of the Dharma house. I think I need chocolate. Virgo, sun, moon, and rising sign, or some of my dates, organic dates with a bit of grass-fed cheddar in the middle. Oh my God, this is my favorite snack these days. When I'm hungry, I tell my Virgos about it. You guys are all about the health. So, and you're earthy. So Virgo, sun, moon, and rising. It is a really intense energy to continually reboot yourself all of 2024 into, the end of this summer as Mercury goes into the heart of the sun yet again in his elemental fire reset button, your eighth house. And he did this, of course, in 2017-18, and that was about inheritances or family secrets or the occult mysteries and magic, including, tarot astrology and hidden knowledge, and also about chunky money, investment money, shared money. So I always use my Virgo daughter got an inheritance from grandma. I think it was that year, 2018, and she squandered it in a summer. The Chironic 1819, the Chironic wound, Chiron in the Aries eighth house can be woundedness around shared resources, monies, inheritances, investments, and even the esteem of others, how others look up to you, and maybe feeling wounded in that regard. Now, this cazimi could reset that for you and change it all, and it's going to last until May 30th. Manwe tells you to get the bigger picture, and Ophelia says stop being overwhelmed and drowning in this stuff. And I think Borasisi might remind you it's time to use the power of beliefs to create something brand new. The eighth house is a moksha spiritual liberation house, and it can offer up spiritual awakening. Mercury would say, listen to your dreams at night and messages from the dead. Now, Mars is the ruler of this cazimi. He happens to be in your 11th house of good spirit. This is where good things usually happen, but he's cutting, severing, and ending certain friendship circles and tribes of belonging. And he may even cut away a source of earnings. You could be fired from your work, or you could quit your job. But if you do that under the energy of this cazimi, it's all good. There's a, what do you call it? A safety net, a saving grace. And that's because of the mini grand triangle that's forming here. So if you are getting ready to leave a job, or the job is getting ready to leave you, and anything is possible, you might be okay. You'll land on your feet. And one thing I like about this is that this cazimi is in a mini grand trine to Juno, the goddess of commitment and vows of commitment, in the 4th house of home, property, land, real estate, and domestic life, and to Pluto and the moon in the 6th house. Now, I can tell you many stories this could be. Like, I'll make up one. You quit your job and you get a job with your mother. Juno in the house of the mother, the moon, the mother in the house of employment, power, and wealth. So my daughter quits her job, then she can work for me, right? See what I'm saying? Put her on my payroll, so to speak. So it could be something practical, but it's also deep and spiritual, because we have karmic debts and real life debts in the 6th house, and we're purging, catharsis, transforming, regenerating, renewing, and ending, and, Plutonianizing some karmic debts. But real life debts, you got a debt. You got to pay off your cards, your credit cards. You got to service a debt. That's 6th house stuff in Indian astrology, and I found it works. So when you have debt to repay, Pluto can bring you the wealth. There's no doubt about it. This is a last quarter moon as well, which indicates a moon that's tired and old and getting ready to finish up a story. So you might retire out some debts, right? Retire out some debts through contracts and agreements you make in the 4th house connected to the 8th. Selling a property. Yes. Also renting a property as a landlady or landlord or whatever, or leasing a property as a tenant. And that is going to be a very financially viable and improving your life direction to go in. Oh, and on the other side of it, a new pet could come to you off of this cazimi, and it's a dead pet reborn. So return of your dead animal to you for Virgos between the cazimi and May the 30th. Alrighty. One more sign in, and she's going for a nibble. Libra, sun, moon, and rising sign. Well, for you, let me check the time. Okay, for you, this is a reset button this week ahead, right? And lasts until May the 30th. Starts on Monday. Doesn't matter if you're watching this video later, it's still in play. So pay attention. Your emails, your phone calls, and your text messages may be from your clients, your audience, your marketplace, and your significant business and love partner. This is a cazimi in the house of somebody else, their life, their story, not your circus or whatever. However, you're interacting with them. So you've been resetting the significant other house, business and love partnerships, clients and audience, all through 2024. And here we go until the end of this year, until this fall. You're still resetting with these cazimis and fire signs. Listen to the intro. And this is like 2017, 18 all over again. Now, this can be definitely a reset in a relationship. The terms of the business partnership, the relationship, resetting a button, resetting the way it goes, getting the big Manwe, elf king, big picture eagle eye view on the relationship, watching out for drowning, Ophelia, drowning, mad, unrequited love, couldn't get Hamlet to love her, went insane, bad things happen. Well, if any of that drama is there in your business and love partnerships, it's definitely looking for some investigation. And Borasisi could add onto the mix, your delusional state about these relationships, but also your ability to believe, or your partner to believe something so deeply it can come true. And maybe that's important here, the power of belief. You will see that Mars is squaring the cazimi in a broad square from the 10th house. This is his, domicile. He owns the Aries real estate. And I wonder, Mars may also indicate for some Libras a change of contractual status regarding a job, quitting a job change, a job up level, something like that, being fired the worst case scenario. And in the story, we get the big picture. Legal contracts are the 7th house. The cazimi is in a mini trine, and the mini trine is connected to the god of vows and commitments, and that's Juno in the 3rd house. And it flows in a peak of a triangle to Pluto moon in the 5th house. So some thoughts. A commitment and a vow regarding creative projects and entrepreneurial business endeavors. Working in partnership, a committed partnership with someone else to start a new entrepreneurial or creative business partnership. Matters to do with your own children and some cathartic death and rebirth experience in their lives that you are witnessing from the sidelines should you have children. A death and rebirth in your romantic life connected to a new relationship that begins to form because of travel, but it's travel to places you've been before. Or Tinder swiping, dating apps you've used before. For a single Libra, this could lead to a new relationship, but it will be intense. Pluto in the 5th house. It will not be your average flirty fun. It will have intensity to it. Because Venus, the goddess of love in the 7th house, flows to Juno in the 3rd house, mini trines this whole Pluto moon. This would be a very cathartic, regenerative, renewing, but intense new relationship. Again, it could be that, or it could be some strain in an existing relationship regarding the sexuality in that relationship. Juno, though, would ask you to try to find a new level of commitment, if possible, to work it out. And that's what I have for you. I'm just going to grab a little bit of a chocolate nibble, and I'll be right back. Whew, let's get going. Let's do the next signs. We've got the second half of the sky. All right. Moving on up to the next sign. I don't think I give Leos or Capricorns less time, right? People keep saying that. I don't think so. All right. But sometimes people have more things going on, right? Like if you're an Aries, there are eclipses in your signs and Libra. So keep it in mind. All right. So Scorpio, sun, moon, and rising sign. So remember the backstory, right? This is elemental fire year 2017-18. Mercury resets and headquarters the sun. This was happening back then. It's here again last year and all through to the end of this year into the fall. Mercury resets your 6th house of work. This is an Artha house, and it's connected to prosperity, work, and career and money. And so for a Scorpio, you're resetting that button, right? You're changing that button. I have a Scorpio rising sun, 17 and 18. He started corporate work. All right. That was the beginning of his career in corporate. Now the buttons are resetting 24, 25, like sales corporate stuff, right? What is this about? Possibly a new job, right? But we'll get to that. This reset button has Manwe here. He's an elf king, and he's all about the big picture view, because you might be drowning and overwhelmed like Ophelia by your work situation, and also Borasisi, your delusional beliefs that it's just fine, or you can use the power of belief to get out of it. Make a fictional story that works for you, believe something different. This is a health house. Health is a house of illness, so the house of bad fortune. So look for health challenges that you want to overcome. Reset a button regarding health. It activates as well the house of self-undoing and addictions, and that includes overcoming ways that you undo yourself. That's because of Venus. The ruler of your 12th is sitting in the 6th with this Venus, with this cazimi on Monday. This Monday cazimi lasts until May the 30th, as there's going to be a reset in Gemini next, from a superior conjunction. So this is a story that's about these weeks ahead, not just about this week ahead. And there is a desire for the chironic wound around the work and health matters to be healed in some way. Work, pets, health, and debts. Debts. Do you have a lot of debt? And you keep struggling with debt, indebtedness, loans, mortgages, whatever debts that are overwhelming you. You need to look at that, Scorpio. That's been true maybe on and off since 2019, or matters to do with health or work drudgery, feeling like you're a slave to the work you do. And yes, it used to be called the house of slavery. It is politically fine to say what it used to be called. So are you feeling like duty, drudgery, servitude, indentured servitude, slavery in the work you're doing? Are you overwhelmed and you need to reset this in some way? The sun does rule your 10th house of career. For most of you, this is going to really activate things to do with your career, and maybe things to do with your career and work, and the drudgery connected to father figures, maybe things you learn from father figures. Mars is looking at this in his house from your squaring from your 9th house. Mars is pretty sharp there. He wants you to, he's got a big water pistol aimed at you, and he wants you to think about what you need to eliminate in order to move towards a more aligned and true purpose. Or he could set you up with some kind of job that requires a move abroad to another foreign land as well. Now, I want to say that with this mini grand trine forming at the bottom of the sky, Juno is in the house of money, earnings, and resources, and she's about contracts and agreements. She is retrograde. You might want to go back on a contract or agreement, to, renege on a job offer, or a job offer from the past could come back to you, something that you were thinking of and never panned out. Because at the end of the day, she's trining from the earnings house, the work house, and she's a part of the reset button. So looking for a new job opportunity from the past to emerge by May 30th. Yeah, why not? Or, maybe you're going to renege on an agreement you've already made and it's not the right place for you to be because you want to move into purpose. Certainly, given that you're having a stellium in the house of that creative artistic temperament at the end of this week, and that all said and done, there's a North Node there. Some of you might be trying to get out of a job and into a self-employed status or creative self-employed status. Be your own boss, have your own business, be an entrepreneur. Finally, what about Pluto and the moon in the 4th house? Well, the moon is like your home and nest, and the 4th house is your home and nest, and Pluto is death and rebirth. So you may have a death and rebirth around childhood stories, particularly that are connected to money and earnings matters that have held you back in life. Messages you got, like you got to work hard to be successful, or money only comes from hard work, or if I don't work hard, I'm worthless, or some weird stuff like that. What childhood beliefs did you inhale, inhabit, and believe that you were spoon-fed, that you were going, I don't think so anymore. I'm done with that bullshit. Because I think Pluto moon here is regenerative. Moon is mother figures, and it is the house of the mother. It's not just your childhood. Mother could be very powerfully placed in the next while until about May the 30th. For something that's very positive in your life, flowing to the house of debts, flowing to the house of money and earnings and resources. Mother could support you to eliminate a debt. Mother could be very team you in some regenerational way, like regenerating something. Mercury rules your house of chunky money. Mercury is the ruler of the house of money you would get if you sold a house. So some of you may be looking at selling a home, death of the home, contracts, negotiations, and selling a property. And a property sale could help you level away some debts or to square away some financial challenges. And again, that would mean, therefore, perhaps looking at that prosperity option between now and May 30th. And I mean, I'm really tackling that Juno because that Juno is really deeply flowing to that stellium of action, including Venus. So a very lucky opportunity for some contractual work agreement coming your way. And knowing that Mars will enter Leo in mid-April on the 16th, 17th or so, or 18th, on the 18th. I would say that a lot of you are getting some really kind of lucky job opportunities emerging, particularly more so between the 18th of April and the 30th of May. So look forward to that. Looks like changes in the work environment are afoot for sure. And don't forget, you have a cazimi up there in August as well, another Mercury heart of the sun. So big changes in the next year for sure, the next calendar year in the work. And this is just one stepping stone to that change. And as well, change of home connected to rental properties. You may lease a property, or you may change your home or sell a property. And I want to say, if you don't have a pet right now, a pet could come to you between now and May 30th off of this sky. All right, Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising, fire trine energy, right? Fire in the sky. You've been going through elemental Mercury fire stories in the fire sign since 2024, finishing up at the end of the summer. You also experienced that in 2017-18. It's a reset of the Dharma houses, 5, 9, and 1. And this is a reset of your house of enjoyment, pleasure, play, creativity, fun, romance, sex, and children, entrepreneurship. This is your self-starter energy. This is your creativity. This is what gives you joy. This is why you get out of bed in the morning. This is wonder, awe, childlike innocence. Reset, trying to reset it last year, continuing to do so till this fall. So see how that feels. Where in your life do you not feel the joy and the fun of life? Have you lost sense of that in your life? Manwe can say, get a bird's eye view, an eagle eye view of the situation, especially when it comes to romantic and sexual love. You've been wounded there since 2019, and maybe you're drowning here. Ophelia so desperately wanted Hamlet, and Hamlet didn't want her, and it led to madness and a drowning, overwhelming situation, So, if you've been clinging to an unrequited love story and you're drowning under your own, insanity over it, madness over it, then Manwe says, get a big bird's eye view of your storyline and get over that chironic wound already. Did your menopausal wife stop having sex with you? Welcome to menopausal wives. Did the girl that you courted decided she was going to become a nun? Welcome to celibate young women in their 20s, whatever. I'm talking about guys because the guys usually get grief stricken over sex problems. I'm sorry if this is cliche, but women sort of just roll with it. You know what I mean? Really? Just roll with it. So whatever's going on there for Sages, now women can get trundled under unsatisfied sex and romance as well. And I'm not saying it's just for the guys, but you know what I'm saying? Now, the sun is cazimi Mercury, right? And the sun rules the house of distant shores and foreign lands. And if you're single and you're looking for a new love story to emerge out of the stellium, because Venus is there, retrograde, old loves from the past reemerge, past life loves from the past reemerge. Not too shabby to find a foreign place or foreign land, travel or intervention there. That could happen. It could happen. The energy of Mars witnessing it from the 8th house, it could really be about slashing through a karmic slash and burn, except that Mars is in water. A karmic parting of the water is like Moses, with his staff, to clear out some karmic debts that you have, karmic conundrums you have regarding love and romance, and things that you may also not be seeing clearly because they're hidden from your view, particularly your own childhood stuff where you've encountered, I don't know, traumas around sexuality, traumas around romance, messages and learnings from your childhood that inhibit your enjoyment of life in general without the romance even. So, or blocks to your creativity. So kind of a purging, healing, cathartic endings there. Thank you, Mars. You could say with the mini grand trine that contractual vows and agreements that you wish to dedicate yourself to, because you are Juno. And Juno in the first house means, should I stay or should I go? She's coming back here. She's retrograding into Scorpio. She'll be back in the future, but you've got a should I stay or should I go mindset in long-term committed love. And Mercury is the ruler of your marriage house. So long-term committed love stories are being reassessed through the lens of, is this commitment worth it? Or am I long suffering in this commitment? Some of you will be unbinding relationships. Retrograde means you've thought about it before. Now, Juno also says you will commit or not commit to stuff that has to do with Pluto and the moon. Pluto and moon in your 3rd house. This is siblings, younger, or just siblings in general. This is cousins, aunts, uncles, nieces, nephews, and the neighborhood and the neighbors and your local community and your everyday life and the people you see in the everyday and the everyday environments of your life, the daily routine. So there's just something there about a transformation, a profound shift in that regard. You're making a vow to yourself to make some changes there. With the moon here, it can mean a new nest in a new neighborhood wants to emerge between now and May the 30th. A relocational signature may emerge on this, or some cathartic, profound transformation around love and romance and emotional satisfaction coming from a house of teaching, learning, or traveling. So because of a teacher, because of a learning course, because of a travel opportunity, you're really resetting your approach to romantic love and commitment. You don't have to be with someone to do this. It's an inside job. Juno's in the sign of Sagittarius. Creative projects can be transformational. And if you have creative projects that go into the online world, this is a very powerful mini trine for success in some way. What that success looks like, I can't tell you. Pluto can bring you some riches, power, and authority, and the moon can bring you some popular appeal in online social media endeavors coming from entrepreneurial and creative activities, that it can also lead you to want to bind into a business partnership or agreement as a result. And you've got till May 30th for that to be true. Writing projects are the third house, and the similar story. The book publishing house is ruled by the sun. Major shifts of positive direction in writing projects connected to book publishing and publications between now and May the 30th. Capricorn, sun, moon, and rising sign. If you're a Cappy, you've got this story going on yet again, like 2017-18, like 2024, and now the end of this year till the fall. Reset buttons in the fire signs by Mercury retrograde. In your fourth house matters are your home, property, land, real estate, where you live, and your private life, your domestic life, your non-public life, your midnight hour life, your home with popcorn and Netflix life. Having Mercury resetting here with a chironic energy, unlike in 2017-18, indicates you're healing a chironic wound around your home, your mother, your childhood, all of the above. And there's eclipses here ongoing since last year. It's really trying to blow out. So looking for your place of belonging, your home, and finding a home. You might feel like you're drowning, Ophelia, in unrequited love for your true home. And you might be having a bit of insanity, so be careful, overwhelm. Borasisi, illusions and delusions, but maybe also the power of your belief to dream into being a new home. Who doesn't want that? Venus is there to also say a beautiful home, a friendly home, a home with love in the home, So there's something going on here. Now, Mars is witnessing it from the seventh house of committed partnerships, where he's slicing and cutting and ending and severing, or causing embattled energies between you and a committed business or love partnership. And so he is squaring this, and there may be a change of home connected to a breach of a relationship, an end of a relationship. There may also be decisions being made by your main squeeze partner that's going to impact your own life and the home you share together. Your partner takes a job abroad and you're going to move. Your partner makes a decision about their home life, and they've got the mortgage, and so they say, no, we're going to sell the home, and that impacts where you live, these kinds of things. And also spousal separation of assets and a divorce leading to a change in your home life. Now, when I look at the mini grand trine offering up something sweet and harmonious until May the 30th, we'll see that the moon and Pluto are in the house of financial resources. And that can be a very powerful regeneration of money for you. The moon can bring material wealth, mother, matter, materia. When you've got a money wound in your life, trust me, you've got a mother wound in your life. So the mother wound, Pluto, second house, earnings, possessions, resources, healing, positive healing going on here. Get a big eye view, get Manwe, get someone to help you see the big picture here around money and resources and home and land and property. Now, the sun is the ruler of chunky money in the eighth house, including severance packages from divorces or whatever, or severance packages from work. That could happen in this chart as well. You also might notice that Mercury is talking to the sun, but he does rule your house of work. And some of you, because of the Artha conjunction of Pluto moon at the time of this mini grand trine, may find that you resolve some of your financial home life problems because of a job or work opportunity that emerges between now and May the 30th, that you're actually going to like the job, I would say, because of Venus's presence here. Juno, the house of Greek goddess of contracts and agreements, in the house of distant shores. A change of home to a distant shore, a change of home connected to foreign people and foreign lands, an agreement or contract around financial matters that also may impact your home and where you live. Because Juno is, connected to Mercury ruling the sixth house of jobs, again, a job that may relocate your home. Ultimately, it's much deeper than just a job that may relocate your home or a breakup in a relationship that relocates your home. or spousal situations and home life changing because of it. Chironic wound in the fourth house is healing the deep wound of mother. And when we heal a mother wound from our childhood stories, even if we love our mother, we still got some shit there. Everyone does. Excuse my language. Merde, tabernacle, sacre bleu. Then it's a joke from another video. If you actually heal this wound, you heal your money stories. And so here you have a profound eclipse coming up on the 29th, and you actually have this Mercury energy here now. So this is a very, very important next year of your life to heal some profound wounds connected to the themes I've just mentioned. Good luck, Capricorns. All right, Aquarius, sun, moon, and rising. Yes, I am indeedy. I have one of you. I have a rising sign. We have Pluto with our sun, our career power, moon, our home, nest, our rising sign, our identity in general. So we're all very Pluto right now. We feel Pluto. We are Pluto. We are very Plutonian. I was just teaching my Venus class this morning, and I realize I sound like I'm a meanie sometimes because I've got that Pluto energy. Like, I'm like, what do you mean you're in this class and you don't know what time class starts? We've been doing it for 4 weeks. It's the same time every time. Adjust for your time zone. Use Siri. And I got kind of like a testy, I think, but I'm also disappointed. If you're missing classes because you're arriving at the end of a class and you paid for it, I feel bad for you. So my Pluto energy doesn't suffer like kind of, in quotes, fools gladly. And I have to be careful here. So how are you feeling, fellow Aquarians? In the comments, let me know. Do you find yourself being really kind of dominating when you don't mean to be? Let me know. So first of all, Mercury has been resetting himself in this part of our sky on the regular in 2017-18. Mercury elemental fire signs. And these are Kama houses, 3, 7, and 11. And again, last year and into the end of the summer. Kama is about our desires. What do we desire in life? And resetting our desires and our relationship to others and our ideas. So relationships, self one-on-one, one-on-many, one within yourself, but also Kama is desire and ideas and the fruition of those desires. So these have all been resetting for us ever since 2024, and it's kind of completing this year. Now, this part of the chart that's the third house, the Aries third house, is a very busy Caden house. So I'm going to rattle off the meanings of the third house. Your ideas, your mind, your marketing and selling and buying, your writing and writing projects, your teaching and learning environment, skills-based teaching and learning, your short distance travel environment, your neighbors, your siblings, your aunts, uncles, cousins, a sibling one younger in particular. Reset button, reset button, reset button. You could change your neighborhood on this one. Easy to do. You could change your relationship to your neighbors and neighborhood as well. So with all of those meanings there, understand this is a reset button. Now you had the same reset button here last year, right? In April, March, whatever, March, April, we had a reset button here from a retrogradation of Mercury into the heart of the sun, into headquarters. So you can compare notes to last year, how you get resetting themes of the third house. And third house people, those are the people that you like. They're like a family friend, a friend who's close enough to be like a sibling, for example, like fam friends as well, childhood friends. Those are resettables as well. Travel, short distance resets. Okay. Now, as this reset button is happening and you're leaning into it, you're going to notice that we have a chironic wound here. Chironic writing wound, neighbor friendliness, getting along with the locals, whatever. Neighborhood wound. I don't like the neighborhood I live in. I'm using these examples. I like it. I just don't like living in a high rise. I don't want to be in the country, really. So there's all of these things going on. And then we say, well, what about Borasisi and Ophelia, etc., and Manwe? Manwe says, get the big picture view on this cazimi. Get a bird's eye view of your situation. You might be drowning in Ophelia energy, which is a lot of things, but basically to say overwhelm. Social media in the online world is the third house. You may be overwhelmed with activity there, with learning or teaching, with producing content like I am. A lot of like feeling like you're drowning in your overwhelm of your work schedule online. That could be an example. And then we have Borasisi, where you deluded and delusional, believing your own lies that you fictionalized, or maybe where are you able to use the power of belief to create something new? You believe it so deeply that it becomes a truth, and that's not a bad thing, right? The power of belief can be useful. So you're assessing some beliefs down here as well. And Venus is the goddess of love and beauty. She's just sort of watching over on the side, retrograde. I kind of want to consider then that Mars is squaring from the workhouse. And for a lot of you, there's going to be a cutting, ending, and severing of some nature of work you do, especially if you teach, especially if you write, especially if you're on the online social media land. But also Mars is in the rental houses area, rental property, a landlord and leasee, squaring the neighborhood. Well, my landlord gave me notice. I'll be changing my neighborhood. So because of that, it's already in play before the Mercury cazimi, but what Mercury can offer for those of us making a change of neighborhood because of a rental situation change, we're going to have more clarity by May the 30th. That's what it means, okay? But and cazimi, especially on the day of and a day or two before and after, listen to your phone calls, emails, text messages coming through that might give you some clues on the themes I just mentioned. With this mini grand trine that's forming, of course, we have Juno, the goddess of commitments, in the 11th house of career gains, friendship groups and circles of belonging, and allies and benefactors, trining the house of neighbors and neighborhoods and learning and teaching and traveling, and mini grand trining a peak or apex in Pluto, Moon, you. You are Moon, you are Pluto, you are dominating, you are world domination, you are mafia boss, you are the top force of reality. Forces of evolutionary impulse are moving through you as you are now purposed by a force greater than your personal willpower. And as this is occurring, the moon is connected to Pluto. Emotional, cathartic, transformative power is in your hands, in your being, in your reality. If it's your moon, it's doubling down on your own moon. Wow. It could be a very emotional energy here, not just on the cazimi, but over the course of the next few weeks until the 30th of May. But it is flowing, harmonious, and lucky. Now, an example could be a contractual agreement offered by a friend, ally, or benefactor or sibling, one older than you, regarding neighbor, neighborhood, and home. It's funny enough, one of my best girlfriends is a Virgo rising, and she may be giving me an agreement, a contract for a property she owns, and maybe I could rent it, for example. That's an example. So that would be nice, because even though I want a vagabond, I wouldn't mind a nest to come back to. Now, another thing I want to mention with this energy is Juno in the 11th house can be contractual agreements for work situations. It's the second from the 10th. And so work situations and contractual agreements emerging that you might want to sign on a dotted line. But with a retrograde Juno, it's familiar and you've seen it before. It's connected to the past. With Venus here, it could be a book publishing contract or an agent thing. Same with Mercury. With the sun ruling your 7th house, it could be connected to, again, legal contracts and agreements, connected to work situations. And so you may be getting an offer of some sort, a hire of some sort, a business partnership agreement of some sort as well. And with the moon conjunct Pluto ruling the house of work and Mars, squaring the cazimi, ultimately, there are some changes in your work. You want to improve your health by making changes in your neighborhood, and you want to improve your health by making changes in your work routines and daily routines around the work. Some of you, this could send you to the local gym over the next few months until the 30th of May to get your act together, start doing yoga or working out. It could be as simple as that as well. All right, that's what I've got for us Aquarians. And now we're moving over to Pisces, the last but never least of you. Pisces, sun, moon, and rising sign. Major energy going on in the second house, a massive energy of a cazimi reset button that reminds you of 2017-18, reminds you of last year until the end of this year to the fall. These Aries energies, reset buttons, elemental fire, happen over and over again in your Artha houses, 2, 5, 10, work, career, money, and prosperity. How did you reset those things in 17-18? How are you resetting them now? Mercury's in headquarters, and he's getting information that you need in order to have a big picture view, Manwe, of your financial situation, earnings, and resources. Okay. As well as if you're feeling like you're drowning in financial challenges, especially debts, because the sun is with Mercury and Ophelia, and the debt servicing of paying debts down, including credit cards. So you may be having some kind of debt drowning or drowning in financial distress, going crazy and insane over financial challenges. That feeling could be here for some Pisces. I wouldn't worry too much about it. We'll get to that in a minute, but there's a feeling of that. Get the big picture view and use the power of belief and imagination, Borasisi, to rectify the problem if you can. Otherwise, you could just be deluded about it and trying to patch it up with false belief. Everything's going to work out. And if I don't pay my credit cards, no, they're probably not going to work out. Now, Mercury is being burned up with headquarters, new mission for you in the second house of resources, while Mars looks on from the fifth house. Maybe by cutting or ending or severing a connection to a child is financially burdensome, maybe an adult child, or a love romance is straining your finances, or by cutting or ending and severing something to do with your creative projects that's taking you away from actually getting a job. It's one thing to write a book or music, but if you're not going to be able to pay your food, shelter, and water second house needs, right, survival needs, that doesn't help. So you may cut some time off from those projects to get into a real earning situation. That's a possibility between now and May 30th. And also, you have a mini grand trine here, and Juno is a goddess of contractual vows and agreements in the house of job and work and career, 10th house. And she's flowing to the second house of earnings and resources. So clearly, some of you are getting a job out of this. The retrograde Juno could mean this from the past. You've worked in this field before, or the boss or the colleagues and coworkers are familiar to the past, or something about you've been here before. This is not brand new. And Juno flowing so beautifully to the second house is indicating an opportunity emerging for some kind of financial recompense and some kind of hiring or work or job or career matter. Now, someone is in my waiting room. If they think this is time for class, because I can't imagine what else they're doing here, I'd be shocked. So I'm going to ask them why they're here and tell them to go away. I'll just say, hi, Jennifer. Why are you in the waiting room? Jennifer, who are you? It's Mercury retrograde. I'll give everybody this much. I'll give them that much, Now back to you. It doesn't really matter. It's just annoying me. It keeps popping up that someone's in the waiting room while I'm recording for you guys. Now, Pluto and Moon, 12th house, apex of a mini grand trine. It is time to completely blow out your karmic shit out the other end. This is like karmic knots, vows of poverty, chastity, childhood wounds. Mercury rules your house of your childhood. Pluto is in the house with the moon, representing family of origin, past life, trauma, things to do with the, lineage, things to do with the ancestral karma, things to do with your own past life karma. Pluto moon here is really important to understand. This is cathartic, purifying, regenerating shift that has gotten in the way of your financial success and your career success in life. And this is a big blowout. The chironic wound about money may have been bothering you since 2019, where you don't have a job or a career path that really suits you. And you're like, or somehow it's not working, or you're not on purpose, or the money doesn't happen, or there's wounds around your finances and your work and your money. So this is about to change. This is about to come to an end. So how can you realize that this time around? How can you clear it out? We have an eclipse with the whole chironic wound. Now, if some of you, it could be an addiction. The only other thing is if you have a habit pattern or addiction of something you ingest through your nose or your mouth, this is time to let it go. You must release it. And this will help you do that between now and May the 30th. But for most of you, it's going to look more work and money related. Okay. And so it's time to also release the work and money stories and let it go. It's time to let it go. Yeah. So what else can I say for you? I'm not sure. I want to see if there's any last pings of thought coming through. With the Sun and Mercury co-joined and the Sun ruling your house of work and livelihood, getting a job is very clear. Some of you will get a job, or you will get jobbing up, right? Finding a way to make money is basically what I'm saying. And it could be at the expense of I spend my whole day creating pottery, or I just love to, write songs. Well, you might do that, but Mars is cutting in its fall from the fifth house of the muse, creativity, entrepreneurship and stuff. If you have an entrepreneurial business, it doesn't hurt to get a side hustle while your entrepreneurial business is building, for example. I'm just making stuff up, who knows what this is really about? Who knows what the sky holds for you? Mercury rules your house of long-term committed love. South Node is moving through it. There are some burdens there, and you may reset your own life in regards to marriage and long-term love as well, as you reset your own financial sturdiness in this particular sky. And I think this is good for your finances, is where I'm going with it. All right. All right. This is what I got for you. Thank you for listening. Let me come back to you. If you have been listening this long and it's been long, like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Check my description box for everything I have to offer. I'd love to see you in one of my other communities, the Substack Pluto Chronicles, Patreon, or my Cosmic Moonshine newsletter. Thank you, everybody. I hope this is an amazing reset button this week ahead and resetting your story until May the 30th. Thanks. Ciao, ciao. Bye-bye.